Okay, we are live. I guess this will be our final Google Hangouts. This will be our final Google Hangouts show since we're transitioning to whatever the YouTube thing is next week, isn't it?
I think we have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Google.
Thanks for making our life hard, Google. Appreciate it. All right, let's begin. Without further ado. And here I go. Welcome, space travelers, to the 227th, but hardly final frontier of the Nerdtravaganza podcast, where this week we'll be discussing 50 years of Star Trek. And was it proper English for me to say final frontier of the podcast? Yeah, I guess the podcast can have a frontier. Is that right?
Sure.
Danny's English from the sound of it, so he might be able to tell us. They invented the language, right?
I mean, did it sound good to your ear, Dan?
I'll go with yes. Yeah.
All right, good, great,
yeah,
great. All right, very diplomatic. Thank you. Before we get on to tonight's episode, though, Starfleet regulations do dictate that I remind you to check us out on iTunes, where your reviews and favorable ratings are worth more to us than gold press latinum is to a Ferengi. The inexplicably avaricious race in Star Trek. I never quite got that.
I like their teeth.
You think they have like gnarly teeth, don't they?
They're like super like razor sharp.
Okay, yeah. I guess they file them down. You'd think they'd be made of gold.
Right. Get a grill.
Well, they get that way from biting gold to make sure it's...
Oh, it's legit. Right, yeah. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Oh, yeah, and clothes are anathema to them. They don't like their women to go around clothed, as I recall. Yeah, okay.
Well, who does?
No, Brian.
I'm glad you said it, Brian.
Anyway, that slight diversion now in our past, we can kick off our episode. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Say our names. By the way, audience, I'm, I guess I want to be the chief of engineering, Tom.
I'm number one, Will Brian.
Number one. I'm science officer Cam.
And, yeah, go ahead.
I'm nervously wearing a red shirt, so I'm Danny, and I immediately regret this decision.
You know something, Danny? I wasn't sure if you were going to run with it, so I was about to say, and joining us as a special guest star, but certainly not with a red shirt on.
Yeah, I will make a return.
Crewman number one, Danny.
Listen, nobody's ever come off this planet, so how about you beam down? And the rest of the valuable away team will stay here.
Good job, yeah.
That's awesome.
I never got that. The whole bridge crew, basically the beating heart of the ship is the away team, except when there's something like deadly, then they just send some scrub down to die.
Oh
gosh. Anyway, welcome, Danny of Games Night fame. It's good to have you on this mission.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. And so we will commence the episode now in our usual fashion by slingshotting around the sun and going back in time to when whales ruled the earth, or whatever happened in that particular movie. And discussing our recent past with the weekly update. Cam, why don't you kick things off to kind of show Danny how it's done, and then we'll have him give his last, so he can also give us an update on his project.
All right, no problem. I am not quite inconspicuously wearing this big, bright yellow hat to announce the fact that I, just this week, have been named Chief General Counsel to Yellow Games USA. So, raise the roof for that. As it's no secret that I've worked with them in their sales and marketing at cons and stuff over the past couple years, and so I guess it's a promotion of sorts to now being their chief legal counsel here in the U.S. Danny, if you didn't know, I'm an attorney as well in my real life, so now I've been brought on by Yellow Games to advise them on various legal matters, and so I'm happy to make that announcement. I've known for a little bit, but we had to sort of hammer out the details, and of course had to get their permission to announce it because that's the bar tends to get a little uptight when you announce certain certain information about your clients. But yeah, they gave me the green light to let everyone know that I'm now officially acting in that capacity for Yellow Games. And
Nice.
so that was, I guess, probably the biggest thing that happened to me this week. Also been doing a lot of sports ball, fantasy football, big gridiron, I guess you guys call it over there, Danny. Fantasy football is a big thing for us over here. It's basically D&D for jocks, but it's sort of permutated its way into the mainstream and the nerd stream, I guess. Even so much so that I've created a nerd league for some of my gamer friends, and so actually tonight is going to be our fantasy draft for that nerd league. It is called the Nerd League of Legends.
Yes.
So
Nice.
I'm anxiously looking for some guys that know nothing about football whatsoever in that league. So I'm looking forward to the draft and how well they do. And they probably will win the leagues based on just how fantasy football goes. But we'll see. So I'm excited about that. And other than that, just playing a lot of tabletop games at the Adventure Game Store. Had a chance to play Haven, which Danny's going to tell us about later in the episode. And that's it for me this week.
All right, Cam, I've got to know something.
Yes, sir.
Had you spilled the beans early on this new arrangement you have with Yellow, would you then have had to write a stern and threatening legal letter to yourself?
No, I'm sure I would have gotten a stern letter from the bar letting me know that I would be subject to harsh discipline in the very near future.
Okay, all right. I'm not sure how that works, yeah.
So that's why I kept it under my hat.
Hat, oh yes. There it is, yeah.
See what nice. I did
there? Yeah, brilliant. Well done.
All right.
And in case anybody doubts it, Cam is a jock.
Oh, I love sports ball.
Yeah. Brian, what about you, man? You've been hitting the sports field yourself. I know you're also a big time jock like Cam.
Kind of, sort of, actually. A little older sports. History Channel has this thing. It's reality television, so I feel really dirty, but it's close enough to a game show, I guess. Have you guys ever heard of Forged in Fire?
I think not.
No.
So I guess like all of those live combat leagues have been getting popular, and this is kind of like jumping off of them. It's not a live combat show, but it's like 4 smiths in a room, and they're just like, make a knife, go. And then they name different kind of knives, and they have like different challenges, like make a knife out of an old '57 Chevy and shit like that. But they actually like use fire and hammer to like beat real functioning weapons, like right before your eyes.
Whoa.
And then the final 2, like the first and second place, like go head to head in a like make a giant sword competition. And it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. And yeah, I mean, being into D&D, I don't know how you can't be interested in the weapons and stuff. So it's really cool. The last episode I saw, they had a hook sword. Like that was like the final competition. And the guys were like, I make horseshoes. What the fuck's a hook sword? Like, even if you make swords, I guess people don't make hook swords that often. So it was kind of fascinating. I kind of binged that this week.
It's cool.
So it's sports related. That's about as close as I get.
Yeah. Do they tell them what a hook sword is, or they just have to imagine what it is?
No, it's kind of part of the show where they showcase it, and they show like one of the judges is like a martial artist, so he grabs it and does some fancy stuff with it.
Oh, I see.
And actually, one of the things that made quite a bit of difference this time around is one of the guys did a little bit of research before he started it, and like why this was this way and why this is that way. And he knew to only sharpen his hook sword like 2/3 of the way. And they kind of like called him out on it. They're like, so I see you didn't sharpen it all the way. Why is that? And he had the historically accurate answer. He was like, well, they didn't do this because blah, blah, blah. And the judge was like, fucking good for you, dude. Like,
Nice.
And the other guy's standing there with a fully sharpened sword like, fuck, man. Cool show.
I take it
And
there are
much
no
better
like
than Pawn Stars.
than pawns. I'm sure. I take it there are no mystery ingredients like on the cooking shows. They don't like open up a basket of things they have to incorporate into the sword.
No, I'm totally serious. Like one of the, I don't remember if it was the same episode or not, but they had like a beat up old truck, and they were like, "Here's your medal, have fun."
Oh, that's the mystery ingredient. Wow. Okay. Wow. I was thought they like some jelly, a hen, that kind of thing.
Nope. They had one that was like implements, like tools. Like they had like a baseball bat that you can make the handle out of, and they had like bandsaw blades, like just broken blades, like saw blades that people could like melt down and hammer together, and crowbars were very popular because I guess a crowbar is kind of already like the bar.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
Neat show.
So much cooler than what we get anyway, because we get the British Bake Off. That's about it. That's our equivalent of that type of show.
I've actually seen that, and I don't think you should be so quick to disparage it. I actually.
I do like it.
Yeah.
I'll convert Tom with this like final answer. One of the tests that they give the blades, like once they've forged their masterworks and everything, is they have two pigs hanging in the studio, and the martial artist walks up to him and like, "All right, I wonder if this will cut clean through it," and sees how far he can get through the pig.
I take it the pig's dead already.
Oh yeah.
Did it die of natural causes, or
They probably serve it up afterwards.
Oh my
this
god!
This blade's so sucky. The pig parried.
It killed me. One of the episodes, one of the blades just completely shattered. It like hit the spine or something like that, and had a weak spot, and they were just like, "Oh, this doesn't work."
I'm trying to think of like a pig-related insult you could say when that happens, but none's coming to mind.
A ham-fisted approach to
Oh,
sword.
there you go. Yes.
Stuck in the mud.
Ouch. And I still can't think of one. Even with all that inspiration. Okay. Anything else, Brian?
I'm being tempted by Kickstarter. There's a miniatures campaign that I'm watching that's got some really cool demons and elves, and we'll see. I kind of got tired of Kickstarter to some degree and miniatures on Kickstarter because like they have a pretty high fail rate. But this is I don't think this is their first rodeo, and really cool looking characters. So that's called.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
The Quest Enhanced by Nocturna Models.
Not gonna look. Well,
I was going to say, and I'm sure you're also being tempted by Haven Titan Command, which is now on Kickstarter, right?
At least that's not like I'm pretty sure you guys will deliver. Like the especially with having to go to China and everything like that for the metalworking. I've lost a lot of, I mean, not money, they deliver eventually, but minis on Kickstarter are kind of rough.
Yeah, unless you go like Cool Mini or Not, or one of those big companies that already have it ready to go and they just want money.
I kind of hate to I mean, they're fine for games and everything, but their minis kind of suck. Like if you're a painter, like I don't like plastic.
Metal's the way to go.
Interesting. You should say that, Brian. Anything else on your update?
Nope. All yours.
All right. Interesting. You should say that because, of course, I spent the last several days at PAX, the Penny Arcade Expo here in Seattle, Washington, and saw a great many things. Spent most of my time because of the friend I was there with in the video game area, but did swing by the tabletop area a few times. And a lot of the tabletop stuff was sort of interspersed throughout the con, so I encountered it whether I was looking forward or not. And Cool Mini or Not had a booth that had some really, really well done painted up minis. And it really got me thinking, like, I'm going to have to, like, become Brian's apprentice and learn how to paint. Because, I mean, this stuff looked great. And the interest hasn't waned yet. So I may actually take up a little bit of painting. I'm sure my companion will love that.
I've always tried to be, like, supportive of new painters or whatever. Believe me, I thought I could never do it, dude. It's way easier to be good at it. I mean, like, there are some just masters of the craft. You know, you might not get there, but it's way easier to get good at it than you think.
See, I don't know, man. I've tried it, and I'm just shit at it. I mean, I'm terrible. Like, I painted this, like, at Origins, I think it was, and it just looks like crap, man. I mean, it's hard to tell in the camera, but, like, it is just not good, man. My hand is super unsteady. Like, I have -3 dexterity.
For our audio listeners, Cam is showing a caped figurine.
Yeah, she's like a rogue with, like, 2 guns and, like, a red cape. I was trying to do it because we're doing a Pathfinder, a Game of Thrones themed Pathfinder campaign, just with my fiance and my friends and stuff, and she's, like, sort of this, like, elvish rogue type. Well, she's not an elf, but, like, she's like a rogue, like, Lord of Light priestess or whatever, sort of like the cleric, you know. And I was trying to paint something for her, but it just came out terrible. It looks like a 3-year-old did it.
Look, how about you, Denny? Do you do any painting yourself? You must.
Yeah, I was actually I'm at my workstation essentially, so all my models are next to me, and I'm just so, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you can see some of these, the Warhammer ones.
Nice.
I wouldn't say I would say I'm okay. Yeah, not too bad. But I started about 10 years ago, and I started with the metal figures, and I've still got it, and it looks like I can't even describe how it looks. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. So I'm actually kind of glad they went to plastic. So maybe I'm the odd one.
Opposite ends of the spectrum on that opinion.
I just could never get it to stick. So I don't know what I was doing. I don't think I primed anything. I think that was my problem.
Oof. Yeah.
Well, Brian, to be fair, Brian is our master craftsman. He's a wizard with his hands. Leather, painting, anything. The guy's a wizard.
Well.
This Forged in Fire show is really tempting me. I'm pretty sure I can make a forge in the backyard.
Don't burn the neighborhood down.
Have you guys
That's
seen
a big leap watching the show.
Have you guys seen the video on the internet about the guy, like, repurposing aluminum cans?
No. Is he burning it? I mean, is he melting it down?
He slags them all down and then pours them into, like, molds, and he makes, like, swords, like, not functioning swords, but, like, cosplay swords and shit like that out of them.
It's pretty cool. You could probably make more off that than 5 cents a ton or whatever you get for recycling, right?
Oh yeah. Well, assuming you don't, splash and set fire to the house.
True.
Wow. So between PAX, you, Brian, and now you, Danny, I am inspired to try my hand again at painting. So who knows what atrocities I'll be churning out by next week. But let's see. So apart from that, PAX is a combination tabletop and video game convention, and I checked out a great many video games. I won't take up the entire show by talking about them. I'll just go over a few highlights. They are doing a new Sonic the Hedgehog in the traditional style, like it looks like a kind of a really state-of-the-art version of the old 16-bit Sonic the Hedgehog games. It's great. I actually played it and had a great time.
Awesome.
evidently this guy was doing some unofficial remasters of the original games, and Sega liked his work so well that they hired him on to do a whole new game. So,
Wow.
yeah, that'll be coming out relatively soon, I think. I don't even know the release date. As well, got an update on... there's an indie game called... Oh, I already forgot the name of it.
Mazer?
Yeah, Star Mazer, yeah. You may have remembered, I think it was PAX South, maybe this past one or the one before, where I talked all about it. They had done a crowdfunding campaign, and they've gotten a lot farther down the road. They released kind of a prequel space shooter and are still on their way to producing the ultimate game. I think that's probably worth checking out. And it's a mix between sort of a King's Quest style action game, I believe, and it might be a more slashy action game than I actually believe it is. But basically a combination action game and space shooter, so really cool. And then, of course, on the big blockbuster front, there was all kinds of VR this time. And I am more convinced than ever that VR is going to catch on at some point. It's really cool, even in these early days. And I think a lot of people's problem is going to be space in their home. And so I think there are probably other applications outside the home for VR going forward. But speaking of a specific application that I found intriguing, I played this little Resident Evil demo where it wasn't all that interactive. You basically just sat there and got killed. But imagine basically being helpless as a zombie like toys with you and then comes and kills you, and you can't like look away because it's in your face. Suffice to say that virtual reality and horror go very well together or very poorly together, depending on how you feel about horror experiences. So let's see. I think that's pretty. I could go over about a dozen different games I played at PAX, but those are just some highlights that come to mind. And that's pretty much it. I've been at PAX for about the past 4 days, and yeah, I really had a good time this year. Lots to see, more to see than you could ever see, and some stuff you'll never be able to see because you can't get in line fast enough. And, speaking of which, I did get in line early and attend a Final Fantasy 15 panel that had a lot of the big shots from that actual project. And I'm kind of excited about that game. They actually did a little play demo for us, and it looked like fun. So if you're into Final Fantasy, you might be into this one. I know I will be. And, man, I want to mention more games now, but I've taken up too much time already. That is it for me and my update. And so, Danny, now you have had to listen to us, and you see how it's done. Feel free to take it away.
Okay, I guess thanks for having me. We've launched our Kickstarter. I'm one of the 3 members behind the project, so if there's anything specific I can run through, or if you want to ask me questions, I'm not sure where you want.
Well, just tell us about the game.
It's called Haven Titan Command. It's about mechs, or titans as we call them, where each player controls their own titan. The cards represent equipment, field skills, and so guns and shields and all that kind of stuff. And you play them, and then you try and blow your opponent up essentially. So it comes in one big box, and all the cards are in that one box. I think we class them as expendable. And yeah, that's sort of the marketing we're going with on that one. Yeah, put me on the spot, I think. So yes, it's all completely new, like IP-wise. We haven't taken anything MechWarrior. It's all, I mean, our history is loving things like MechWarrior, Macross, and Gundam, but it's completely original. We've made a galaxy. We've set everything in this galaxy. Within and everything is sort of taken from the lore and history of it, so it's not like you're just playing cards essentially. So yeah, everything's ready to go really. We've had some artwork done of all the Titans and the characters, so yeah, we're really happy with it. Just fingers crossed now, really.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Yep, and I've had a chance to play a test copy of the game, and it's really fun, fast paced, fight it out kind of game. It's like it's almost, I don't know, I would say I would describe it almost a little bit like Magic-ish, but in space. Yeah, fighting back and forth. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we play Magic a lot, and that's sort of the dueling aspect of it. We describe it a bit like Netrunnery, where
Netrunner,
adversarial, against each other, where each one of you plays a specific role as you fight, really, rather than just a bunch of...
Right, very cool.
Yeah, so it's good that you got to play it, because I think it's it's quite difficult to get that across, and unless you're going to play it and actually see for yourself. So that's really cool.
Yep, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the finished product as well. Because I mean, what I saw was pretty cool, but I know you guys are still working on some of the art and things like that.
Yeah, it's a big bit that's missing is the 90 inches sort of to fill in, and so that's really why we're on Kickstarter.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah, I gotta say the artwork I'm seeing on the Kickstarter page is very impressive, and I think Cam would do a splendid job of kind of walking me through it when the time comes. So looking forward to that as well.
Absolutely.
Cam, in addition to being a brilliant legal mind, is actually very, very quick study when it comes to games. I think he picks things up. Like it's really remarkable. I've seen him take a box, like read over the instructions, and be teaching it like within a very short amount of time.
It's weird that you should say that, because in my gaming group, I'm the only one that reads rules. So whenever there's anything, it's always down to me. So if I'm not there, they can't play games, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm quite literally and figuratively the rules lawyer.
Yes. Danny, have you or are you considering a legal career? Because it seems to go hand in hand with being a rules lawyer, like being an actual lawyer.
It never crossed my mind, but
okay.
I don't know. Maybe, who knows?
You don't have to be. You don't have to be, but it helps.
Yeah, I actually there was a judgment against me, like a full-on legal judgment resulting from a game where Cam and I had a dispute. I had to pay him $5,000 in real money. It's amazing. No, that didn't happen.
Who knew game night would turn out so poorly, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can't go back. I'm still recovering. I'm still paying that off. Oh, man. Cool. Well, best of luck with the Kickstarter. It does look promising. Taking a look, and it seems like you're well on your way to your goal, it looks like. So.
Yeah, about halfway in time and just about halfway in funding, so...
Yeah, I think you're going to make it. Fingers crossed there. Yeah.
Just don't forget.
What anything apart? I'm sure this is taking up pretty much all of your time. You're quite busy, but any time for leisure or fun beyond your job?
Mostly gaming, whether it's digital or games nights. We do. We play a lot of board games, but apart from that, no, just mostly gaming. I think that's about it. That's nice. My spare time.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it only makes sense. It just shows that your commitment to the craft doesn't work. Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, a bit of writing and thing. That's what I do outside of that. So yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You and Brian share that in common. Brian is himself a writer, a man who writes.
Used to be.
You have the heart of a writer, Brian.
There you go.
Oh, cool. Well, all right. Thanks for the update, Danny, and we will be following your Kickstarter with great interest.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, sweet.
And with that said, it is now time for our audience to lose interest as we transition to our main topic. Just kidding. We're self-deprecating, but we hold our audience's interest throughout the entire show, as you will soon see. It is time for us to beam up warp to. How are we going to get to our topic, Cam? You're good at this sort of thing.
Well, I think we should fire up the proton torpedoes and blow up some news first.
Oh, thank you. Wow, it's like I'm stuck in. Oh man, I'm trying to think of a Star Trek. Like I'm stuck in the Q continuum or something. I forgot to announce. I forgot our names, and then I forgot about the new extravaganza, which is where Cam actually like always shines by coming up with all this crazy news. So, Cam, wow, thanks for saving me from the Q continuum. Glad to be back on the bridge.
No problem. Speaking of bridges, it appears that the Titanic is expected to disappear by 2030. There is, as you know, the Titanic is about 3,800 meters below the North Atlantic Sea, and it's been there since 1912, so over 100 years now. I guess it's been being eaten away just by the natural elements, but also a very hungry bacteria, and so it will be pretty much totally gone by 2030.
Oh.
So take that, environmentalists. Things get destroyed way quicker than you say they do. We don't got to worry about that big trash pile in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you were planning on planning any undersea adventures, I'd get to the Titanic before 2030.
They better get that Titanic sequel written and filmed
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. Leo's on tap, I'm sure.
The Revenge.
Yes.
Steel-eating bacteria couldn't possibly go wrong. No cause for concern here.
Yeah, Titanic 2, the Titanicing.
Yes.
Speaking of train wrecks or shipwrecks, Lindsay Lohan filed way back when GTA 4 came out or GTA 5 came out. There was a picture of a woman on the opening credits and throughout the game that she says looked just like her in a famous selfie of hers where she's like in a bikini and she's like throwing up the peace sign. And so for the past several years, she's had ongoing litigation against Grand Theft Auto 5, or the makers of Grand Theft Auto, for this basically saying that they co-opted her image and used it to sell their game, and so she wanted money out of it. Basically, a court this month said, forget it, Lindsay, you're a mess, and we're not going to go forward with your lawsuit. Oh, I don't know if the court said that, but basically,
I was going to say, did they offer that? Did they offer that insight as well? Like, you're a mess, and here's our ruling.
Legally speaking.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I don't know that I don't think they said that, but they said basically, sorry, your lawsuit cannot move forward anymore, and they dismissed the case. So sorry, Lindsay. I actually sort of would side with her on that side, just not giving any legal advice or whatever. But it did look a lot like her. If you put the two pictures side by side, and they obviously were making a play on her. But I mean, I guess some would say that falls under parody and First Amendment rights and stuff like that. So say we all. Speaking of funny celebrities, 50 Cent threw a birthday party for one of his children, and it was a Teen Titans Go themed party. I guess his son is a big fan of Teen Titans Go, and 50 Cent dressed up like Cyborg, had a full-blown Cyborg cosplay, and he took to Instagram and posted pics of himself as Cyborg. Pretty cool.
That's cool, but between that and his nerdy headphones, two pairs of which I bought recently, Cam, on your recommendation.
A pair that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
my Stormtrooper 50 Cent headphones. Yeah.
I'm starting to really like 50 Cent.
Well, I mean, his bankruptcies and all his other issues, maybe he's thinking the nerd route is the way to go to bolster his coffers.
Yeah, it is.
Everyone else is.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of nerdy accoutrement, Snapchat is working on some augmented reality glasses.
Oh.
I don't know that they are going to be any better than the Google Glass glasses, but apparently they're going to be called the Vergence. or I think Virgin. So I don't know. Let me recheck my source.
You sure? You
Recheck
sure?
my source.
You sure
Yeah,
about
let me-
Virgin?
No. I'm sorry. They're called Epiphany Eyewear.
I see.
And,
That sounds nothing like vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the least.
No, it was Virgin.
Virgins.
Yeah, I guess they set up, they said that's a website. I guess they set up where Epiphany wearers can share their videos. Yeah, I mean, I guess now you can post and view even more annoying snaps once you get your Epiphany eyewear.
See those stupid little princess filters on everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Just make the world that filter. I wish they could make douchebags go away within 50. Was it like 30 seconds they go away or something? I'm not on Snapchat, so I don't know. But apparently, I guess the thing is that they go away within a certain amount of time.
Wait, the people themselves or the photos?
No, I'm saying the photos, I guess, go away. But it would be great if we could make douchey people go away.
Yeah, believe me, it turns out that's not legal. I've come up with ways, but yeah, you're not allowed.
Yeah. And speaking of douchiness, Apple has announced that they are going to, in their newest. Well, I guess they haven't announced, but the rumblings are that the iPhone 7 will not have a jack for your headphones. So these awesome 50-cent headphones that we bought, Tom, are going to be ruled obsolete when the iPhone 7 comes out if we choose to purchase it. And they are going towards, I guess, Bluetooth technology, and you're going to have headless earphones if you want to use them with your iPhone 7. This makes their purchase of the Beats by Dre franchise much more clearer, I guess. It makes a lot more sense now. So now I guess all the people that own Beats by Dre are going to be forced to buy brand new Beats by Microsoft, I guess, whatever they're called now, and if they want to use them with their iPhone 7.
That seems dumb. I don't really think didn't Bluetooth already not catch on about 6 years ago?
Yeah, well, I guess much in many other ways, much like they're doing in many other ways, Microsoft is pushing us into the future.
Microsoft or Apple?
I'm sorry, Apple. Why do I keep saying Microsoft? Apple,
well,
Apple.
Increasingly you can't tell the two apart.
Well, they're a-holes too because they keep trying to get me to download Windows 10, and I keep saying no, and they keep trying to force it on me. But
they're going to send a guy to your house with a thumb drive pretty soon.
Seriously, a crowbar and a thumb drive. Let's give me your Surface right now. No, but yeah. So speaking of ushering into the future, I guess we can transition to our topic.
Oh yeah.
Which is the Star Wars 50th anniversary. Star Wars, Star Trek. I'm getting everything wrong today. Jeez. You built me up. You built me up so much with saying that I shine in the news, and I just shit the bed.
You seem to have caught whatever I caught. Wasn't there an episode of Star Trek where everybody became like bumbling simpletons or something? I want to say there was.
Yeah, everyone was sort of drunkish, and Data had to was taking out all the chips of the of the warp drive, and
yeah.
Some destructive force was bearing down on them, and he had to replace them all really quickly so they could activate the warp drive, and Wesley saved the day.
Of course he did. Of course Wesley saved the day.
Oh man, I know too much about Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Which one was it when there was a warp core meltdown and then time froze and then Picard was laughing and drawing a smiley face in the death cloud? You remember that?
I think that was the one where Geordi and the Bajoran chick were caught in that time loop, right? Or they were in that where they basically were out of phase or something like that, along with what's one of those guys? What are the guys? They sort of look like Vulcans, but they're
Romulan.
The Cardassians. Romulans. I can't remember.
The Cardassians are the guys with a thick necks, and the
it was a Romulan. Yeah, it was a Romulan.
Romulans are
and they were caught with one of those guys, and they were going back and forth between the ships because there was some sort of they were trying to help them out, and then it turned into a warp core breach, and they kept reliving the day over and over again or something.
Right. Okay. Yes. Wow. See,
It's like 6 episodes in one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I remember all those things happening, but I don't know if they're all the same episode or not. So,
I don't know.
which brings us to this topic, which is Star Trek, which has been going on in some form for 50 years. Hard to believe.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to call myself a Trekkie, but I've watched enough of it to qualify as, I think, at least a C-tier fan, let's say. And I will acknowledge that, like, most of the things I like probably would not exist as they do today if it wasn't for Star Trek.
Very true.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have our tablets. We wouldn't have our smartphones, which are basically those, like tricorders,
We wouldn't have our post-capitalist economy that doesn't require you to have money, Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We don't.
We did get around to that.
Still working on some of them.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to just go around the room and I don't know, thoughts on it being 50 years old and thoughts maybe on whether we can see another 50 years. We may not see another 50 years, but that the thoughts as to whether or not the franchise will last another 50 years and really what the vision of the future will be in a few decades from now.
Yeah. So what was it? I guess 66, right? When the first episode aired? It's crazy to think it was that long ago.
I think if I remember correctly, I read or heard something on TV about this a long time ago. When it came out, Westerns were all the rage. And to get people to tune in like the TV guidebooks and all that, they had to like couch it as like a wagon train to the stars or something to get people to like tune in and try it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just imagining like Sulu with like a cowboy hat on, like,
Well, I'm sure he's had a cowboy.
Didn't they have a couple of Old West episodes?
Yeah, they did actually.
Yeah, they probably had to. It was like obligatory at the time.
Yeah, I'm sure he's had some chaps on at some point in his life.
Oh, George Takei?
Yeah.
I don't think he's a party animal. I don't think he leads a wild life. He seems like kind of a mild-mannered nerd, if you ask me, but I might be wrong.
He's actually super cool guy. I met him at the Star Trek when they used to do that Star Trek convention at the Las Vegas Hilton every year. I met him and his partner Brad. I don't know. This must have been 7-8 years ago, but he's a super cool guy. He took time to chat, and just a really great guy.
What does Brad do that he gets to hang out with George Takei? Like, what's his claim to fame?
No claim to fame. I mean, this is a family podcast. I won't go into what he does, but I mean, I think.
No. I meant like.
I think one can imagine.
Like, whatever he does behind the scenes is up to him. But I'm saying, like, if you're somebody as accomplished as George Takei, what attracts you to Brad? Which just his name just doesn't scream excited.
I don't know. Love is blind, I guess, right?
Love knows no warp factor.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
Anyway, it's funny we mentioned George Takei, and because before he was openly out there as gay, he was openly Asian, and I think that for the time the show was released, that was kind of a progressive thing to have an Asian person on the bridge. Well covered territory, but it was a show that had a lot of a diverse cast at a time when other shows did not.
Right.
I think that's something that really stands out to me. Sure, all of the technology that they kind of sparked became reality and everything like that, but this show is so old that being black was kind of a thing. I'm amazed by that. It sounds silly or whatever, but this show had a hand in just making that normal and acceptable and okay.
Yeah, and it did so by saying by a century from now, of course this will be the case. It leapfrogged the conditions of the day and was looking back from this future perch where that was normal, right?
Yeah. And it's funny too. I especially like especially in Next Generation, how matter of factly they're like, yeah, they were barbarians. They didn't have any idea. Like, they used to care who you had sex with. What's wrong with those people?
The way they kind of look back on it. Yeah, how the show makes a commentary on the modern day. I totally agree with you, Brian. How about you?
In 66.
Yeah. I mean, even then, and then Next Generation did it even more. Yeah. What do you think, Danny? The show pretty groundbreaking in terms of its forward-looking.
Yeah, just going to touch on the groundbreaking thing. It didn't have the first interracial kiss.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that sort of, like you were saying about the matter-of-fact thing, they just did it, and that was it. They didn't essentially make a huge deal out of it, I think, at the time, and sort of just let it do itself, let people talk about it themselves, and I think that, what it did for that was amazing.
Was that Kirk and Nichelle and Uhura?
I think so. I'd have to Google.
Yeah, it was.
I think so, yeah.
It was. Yeah. And Danny, it kind of says something that kiss was preceded by Kirk kissing about 15 blue, green, and yellow alien women, which no one batted an eye at. And then he kissed like a black human, and suddenly it was like, whoa, now.
Those will be groundbreaking in 50 years. Those green, blue.
Yeah. Right. When there's intolerance of the, our nearby neighbors from Proxima Centauri or whatever.
Well, what sucks is that, like, and not to be a Debbie Downer, but like, so those fans of Star Trek that love Star Trek, because they love Star Trek, okay, are probably, a lot of them are probably the same internet trolls that got on Reddit and were all hacked off when Finn turned out to be, was possibly a black stormtrooper. In episode 7, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's sort of a contrast of how far we've come, and how far we've not come.
But those people, they're at the margins, aren't they? I mean, it's not the mainstream opinion that's a big deal, Whereas during the Star Trek days, in '66, I imagine you'd have a lot more people that would have felt that way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think there was still segregation as I was there.
Yes.
The response would have been different too. Like, these people, went online and wrote nasty letters. Like, they would have just killed them.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Or at best burned a cross.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Danny? I mean, not that you are an expert on decades past, but in your neck of the woods, do you think it was as big a deal as it was in the U.S., where we had segregation and all this?
No, I don't think. I'm trying to think back to sort of my childhood when Star Trek was around, and trying to think if it was as big a deal here as it was in America. And I don't anyway. So I think you got hit by that a lot heavier than we did. Certainly. Yeah,
we definitely have a much more pronounced, or have had a history of much more pronounced racial division here. I don't think anybody would dispute that. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, a show definitely that tackles kind of social issues, but as I said, by leapfrogging them, and then we glossed over it a couple times, but I think it kind of bears repeating. A show that showcases future technology. That of course we're going to have of course we're going to carry a tiny notebook-sized computer around. Duh, that goes without saying. I think it really was prescient in a lot of ways. We seem to have missed the boat on the tricorder. I hope that's out soon. And I'm not really sure how practical the little tap of the badge to talk thing would be, but I mean, I would try it out.
Well, I mean,
that's just an Apple Watch.
It's like Siri, whatever, Siri, or yeah, similar anyway.
Yeah, good point. I mean, you think the cell phone is superior to? I don't know if I'd want a lapel-mounted smartphone necessarily, or something, or whatever that was.
Well, it's it's just a wearable, right?
I think it'd be cool as shit, actually.
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the tattoos, armor, whatever. I think it'd be really cool just to have like on your breast pocket, like, you know, volume up, next song, like, and you could even make it in that like little icon style or something. I mean, I'm sure you get copyright or whatever, so make sure you homage.
Yeah, there's implantable insert which do the same as receiver or something, so it's not a million miles.
Absolutely.
As I think about it, and as you guys are mentioning it, the device, whatever it was, and whatever incarnation it might take in terms of a device, you know, implant or what have you, the whole idea was you were interfacing with this like this sort of like ubiquitous computer, right? Like you were talking to this like intelligent. You weren't necessarily at a terminal. You were just kind of talking to this computer that was listening in on things at all times and monitoring. Actually, I don't know if they could remotely talk to the ship computer or not. I think that was mainly you had to be on the ship, wasn't it? In other words, they could be like computer like from the ground or something, could they?
No, I don't think so. I think that was just the ship on, or the computer on the ship. I think the little tappy thing was just a cell phone.
Human, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it occurs to me, if you want to consider the sort of learning intelligences that back things like Siri, that we sort of integrated the two. I mean, you're kind of calling back to the ship when you send a query in and have it answered. So I think we kind of melded the tap to talk with the computer that can almost answer your just like plainly stated questions.
I think we're a lot closer than I ever thought we'd be. I remember, 85, 86, like just fantasizing about us all having phones, like just be able to communicate with anyone whenever you wanted. I never thought that would actually come to pass, let alone in my lifetime, let alone in 20 years.
Yeah. So we've marched a good ways down that road, and I wonder. We're talking about technology and sort of the. Okay, are you guys prepared to go so far as to say that the show actually inspired the invention of these technologies, or did it foresee what would obviously come to pass, or did it really inform the development of these gadgets that we take for granted today?
No, I think it absolutely, it inspired the people that went on to create them.
Yeah, it's like art imitating life or life imitating art, whatever. I think it just had a definite effect on, the culture, and then, those people that then went on into those positions to make stuff.
So absent of Star Trek, and I mean, if there had been Star Wars only, you think we might all be sitting around like big, ugly banks of computers and using data tapes and so on to this day?
Look, I love Star Wars, but believe it or not, the fantasy is just not there. Like, their communicator was a little microphone that you clicked and spoke into. That's not nearly as cool as just like, beam me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, I guess really the droids spoke to the machines, but it's still not as next step as just telling the ship, hey, I want to go here. No, you need 3PO to speak that language.
Oh, it's scary to think if we go down the Star Trek route. You would need a droid to data spike the damn computer to get your email, wouldn't you? And recite it back. I need a protocol droid to translate. Pain in the ass. Well, I
love the Star Wars universe, the story, the characters. Star Trek had way better technology.
No question. No question.
Yeah, I mean, there's even episodes of in Next Generation when Picard had a little what looks like an iPad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Almost exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, they were almost Jules Vernish and like their foreseeing of what things to come or whatever.
Yeah, and yeah, that gets back to the prescience and speaking of the technology, and I like the way the episode has kind of gone here. We're kind of on how they zeroed in on the future, even though it's a future we haven't quite gotten to yet. Some of it has already come to pass. And Danny, I'll let you take the lead on this next question because I'm curious about this. When it comes to gadget tech and to race relations and to other things, they were definitely forward thinking and predictors of the future. But at least from my perspective, when it comes to doing like sort of the core thing in the Star Trek universe, which is like actually exploring space, I feel like we're just stuck. We've barely made any strides since the 60s, at least in my opinion. I understand there's a lot of research going on, but we're not like even at Mars yet. So what are your thoughts on that and why we maybe are falling a bit short of the mark?
Yeah, I think when we look back at the 60s, it was all going on, wasn't it? We're going into space, going to the moon. That's when it kicked off and captured the imagination, as it were. I don't know. I think we then, over the 80s, 90s, we again. So maybe that's why sci-fi with the movies and things, it's come back again, and it has got that renaissance about it when people are looking back now and thinking, well, we should be pushing on now because it has been 50 years and we've not done it. So yeah, it's hard to say really.
Brian, Cam, what do you guys think of that?
Well, in the Star Trek timeline, at least, I mean, they got crazy lucky. They were barely able to hop off the planet when the Vulcans just happened to be driving by.
Yeah, right.
And I've always said this. I think First Contact would really light a fire under our asses.
Yeah, and it would help if they came with like handy warp technology we could use as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Or they'd light us on fire. I mean,
yeah. What do you think, Cam? Do you think maybe as Danny implied, we are entering, or we need another, or even as Brian implied, basically, do you think we need another kick in the ass to get moving again, or do you think we're experiencing one?
I do think so, and I think that kick in the ass, unfortunately, is going to come from our own doing, like global warming and things like that. I mean, we're going to realize pretty quickly that we're all fucked up, and we need to do something about it, whether it's healing things here or looking off-world. Things are going to have to start moving pretty quickly over the next 30, 50 years, which, for us is kind of a long time, but in the global scheme of things is the blink of an eye, So, yeah, I mean, some sort of event is going to, I mean, just look at what's been happening lately. I mean, there's been like 5 earthquakes in the last week or two. And they're saying like a lot of them are related to fracking for the oil. It's like we just continue to just do things like that and then wonder why bad things happen to us. I think something's going to happen on a scale of magnitude that we can't ignore it, and then that is going to light the proverbial fire.
Fracking is literally trying to force like huge tracts of earth apart.
Yeah.
Like explosively. They inject gas, correct?
Yeah, gas and liquid and so on.
Yeah, and force stuff to the surface, yeah.
But who on earth thought that was a good idea? Like,
someone who has us convinced we absolutely must keep using all the fossil fuels we can find, I guess, right?
Yeah.
By cracking our planet open like an egg?
It's progress, Brian.
Well, and that's why I think it's like sort of, key to what we're talking about. I mean, you can't get any more opposite of the Star Trek ideals than that, right? I mean, it just makes no sense. The whole reason of doing it is for personal gain, personal wealth, and destroying the planet, which is the exact opposite of what the Star Trek universe would want to do. And we need to turn that around pretty quickly.
So what do you think of that? Back to bring it around to you then, Danny. What do you think of us having reduced the Earth into a giant trash heap as being the impetus for us like leaving?
If there's ever a reason to leave, then that might as well be it, right?
That's sad, yeah. But
Yeah, truly. But yeah, I think you're right with the it's, we'll do it ourselves.
Mm.
Yeah, we got big problems.
I'd like to think we could both. I'd like to think we could be a little more aspirational and both fix the Earth and leave the Earth, and that not like just make it such an unlivable hellhole that we'd rather take our chances in space. But
I hate to pick on the lawyers, but we need like artists and dreamers back in charge of some things instead of number crunchers and what we can get away with types.
Well, I'd say we need a healthy balance of the two. As long as I have a job, I don't care about the other ones.
I say we need the games makers like our guests tonight to lead us into the future.
Yes.
I think I steal all of my technology and things. Yeah, don't rely on me.
Damn. Okay, back to the drawing board then.
If you can't create the thing yourself, you just have to inspire the next generation.
Ooh, the next generation. Well done, Brian.
Smooth.
Oh man.
Oh, by the way, George Takei met Brad in the 80s. They both were part of a, I guess, California running club. They both were avid runners, and I guess Brad was the best runner of the group, and so George thought he was cute and asked him to train him for a marathon, and here they are, like 30 years later, married and in love.
He trained him for a marathon because they got married instead. Oh,
Yes.
That's cute.
So good job, Brad. Your short shorts attracted George Takei.
Well, to be fair, his running skills, like he had to be like good at, so he had to be skilled or something to attract the
True,
attention.
very true. So. I'm sure those 80s Kango or pony shorts didn't hurt.
Is that a flipping the tape required Walkman you have on? Well, yes, it is. Oh God.
Yeah, I can't wait till we wear like unitards, like in Star Trek.
Like in the early seasons when they were wearing those awful. You mean before they went to like the jacket you constantly had to pull back down when you stood up?
Yeah. I want the Wesley Crusher unitard with like the rainbow across the front of it.
Well, that was the first. Minus the rainbow, the unitard in I think the first season, Next Generation, that was what they wore before they went to the awkward jacket.
Yeah, and I love that when it's like when they were like at ease or like taking a break, they just like unbuttoned it, like.
Yeah. Actually, that's a lighter point I would like to discuss to sort of end the episode. All right, the Starfleet uniform in the original series was a certain way, and then in the 80s and beyond, when they every time they did a new Star Trek motion picture, the uniforms changed, and like often drastically, like depending on what was in fashion that year. And I mean, at one point, I think they had like weird like 80s like quilted padding on their uniforms in one of the movies. Like it got really like garish in a couple of them, and that's something that of all the things to sort of quibble with about Star Trek, that's something that has always kind of stuck in my craw. Like, would this like post-materialistic society be like fashion conscious to that degree?
I mean, I guess they would have been utilitarian in that respect. So I mean, I guess it's kind of a departure from the ideals of Star Trek. But I mean, then again, like you said, we could poke holes in Star Trek all day. Like, I mean, no one's supposed to have money. Everyone's supposed to be equal. Yet, like, Picard has these like golden ships and like a rare first edition of Moby Dick. So how did he get that? Like, I mean, he's got to obviously have some scratch, and spending. and he's always going to like Risa and like having like all these crazy sex vacations. So like I mean he's got to be paying for it somehow. Like so.
Well, I mean, I think the point, you're allowed to have like these cultural heirlooms, but they're not cheap like mass-produced goods. These are things that you're a deep person if you own these things, I guess. I don't know. That doesn't make sense because you could just replicate Moby Dick and a golden spaceship, couldn't you? So
true. Yeah, I guess.
Well, what do you guys think about those two things? The inconsistencies in Star Trek when it comes to like owning things, because people seem to have their prized possessions. One, and two, my probably honestly singular observation, because I've never heard anybody else complain about this. They were like constantly changing uniforms between movies.
Yeah, I don't think the movies count. Like that's not the same vision. So like they get a little bit of forgiveness for being different. Like
You think, Danny?
I just think it's weird aliens wear clothes. I think if we were to meet an alien race and they happen to wear the same trousers as us, is a little bit weird in itself.
It's very true. Very true.
Yeah, won't we evolve past the point of needing to clothe ourselves at some point? Like we'll have no shame of our bodies or something, or.
I will always have shame of my body. I will never evolve past that.
Okay. I'll put this one to you, Danny, in response to your point, though. Let's just say you're Riker, and now Starfleet have taken on alien customs and no longer bother with clothes, right? And you're Riker, and Picard is sitting there with his bare ass on the commander's chair, and then he says, "Listen, I've got to go, to 10 forward. You have the bridge number 1, and now you've got to sit down where he was sitting, and you don't have anything on." Think about that.
Are the towels?
What's that?
Are the towels? Anyway? Yeah, the towels.
There would have to be, I guess.
I also can't tell a red shirt apart now because there isn't any.
Right.
So
oh yeah,
that's
you're right.
a problem.
They're all kind of wearing those maroon uniforms now, aren't they?
I don't know who to send down.
Well, I'm assuming in the future the fabric is like self-cleaning or hypoallergenic or whatever. Wouldn't matter if you sat there after Picard's sweaty ass was there.
Well, maybe. Okay, so good answer about the towels. Either the towels or the future like self-cleaning fabric handle the bare ass on the chair problem. But that's a real conundrum for the person taking over the bridge, as Danny just pointed out.
Yeah, well, I mean, how are you going to tell rank as well? Like, where are you going to stick those little dots that they have on there? where do the little command dots go?
Right. I think you might need to reinstitute red shirts.
Yeah. Well, and where are you going to put your little communicator? I guess it could integrate it into your body.
Probably, yeah. Well, I mean, then again, you wouldn't want to waste the resources on the people who are going to get killed. So
true. And where are you going to hang your tricorder? I mean, I know. I've got plenty of room to hang plenty of things if I was naked, but I don't know. Some other people.
Maybe maybe just a tattoo or something. Like once you get the red tattoo, you're expendable.
Yeah. The red tattoo of death.
Right. I'm a red tat. I'm never going to make it through this mission. Oh wow, this got silly. This got silly fast.
Yes,
anyway,
yeah, we went sideways.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. That's par for the course on this show. Believe me. Anyway, anything else you want to discuss with regard to Star Trek, Kickstarters, games, gaming? Anything else? Anybody before we adjourn?
Well, we want to make sure that all the listeners and viewers head over to Kickstarter, check out Haven Titan Command by Games Night Games, Games Night Night with the K, and check out the game and back it on Kickstarter. You won't be disappointed.
Are you going to have the demo tomorrow?
Vaughn has it. If Vaughn will be there tomorrow, then I can ask him to drop by.
I will cross my fingers.
Okay.
There you have it. Those of you in the South Florida region of the United States, feel free to stop in to our local gaming haunt, the Adventure Game Store, where you can play this very game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice. So we'll see you there tomorrow then, Danny? You gonna fly over or?
How long does it take?
Oh, it's what, 10 hours? It's no time at all.
Just a quick hop across the pond. No big
As
deal.
they say, yes.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Oh man.
And Danny, do you have any social media, websites, anything you wanna tell our listeners about?
Yeah. Facebook. It's Haven the Game across all of them essentially. That's all one word / Haven the Game, or search for us Haven Titan Command. Yeah. So thank you.
So Haven the Game, Haven Titan Command on any social media, correct?
Yeah.
Haven the Game, perfect.
All right. We will direct all of our listeners there, and as we said, we wish you great success going forward, and not that it's needed. I think you're off to a great start so far. So, well, as you said, you're mostly there. It's just really the Kickstarter to put the finishing touches on it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, everything's been designed and made. It's just that's it really.
Awesome, cool. All right, well, best of luck as we bring the episode to an end, and I will commence ending the episode by saying, kickstart every week by and reach Warp Factor 10 at the same time by checking out our show on iTunes, Google Play Music, or if you prefer a streaming alternative, Stitcher.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, add us to your Google Circle, and join the Nerdstravaganza HQ group on Facebook.
Hop into your shuttle and fly on over to our website, nerdstravaganza.com, and check out all of our back episodes, including this one and all of our other 220-something forays into nerddom. Beam on over to YouTube and check out this and all of our other premium video content. And shoot us an email at nerdstravaganza@gmail.com and let us know what Darmok's your jalad at Tanagra.
And with all that said, normally Brian takes us away with a farewell quip or joke or pun, but to really put you on the spot, Danny, since you're our guest this week, we'll let you go ahead and do that to cap out the episode.
Okay. If I was prepared, I'll let Brian do it.
No, how does it feel, huh?
I think it's safer.
That was your red shirt moment. Now you've definitely been left behind on the planet to die.
Falling on your sword.
Brian, okay, take the rest of the away team back to the ship.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. That's enough.
Con!
Why did he scream anyway? Like, was that coming over like the communicator?
I don't know. But it was awesome.
It was cool in the movie, but like nobody could hear that.
Oh man.
Why wasn't Con Indian also? I want to point that out.
Yeah,
In either
Con Singh. That was his name.
right, and like it was played by like Ricardo Montalban. I don't know what his nationality is, and then like by like a who was it that played it in the new one?
It was Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, that doesn't scream sing to me. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, goodbye everybody. See you next week. And
Take care.
Broadcast. Goodbye.